Hi everybody. Kelsey just fixing the camera here right quick. Okay, it's going to come in a little dark, but that's the best I can do right now. We are I'm sorry. What I wanted to do was when I'm out canvassing a lot of times I don't have the I don't have the time to really explain the In Spite of initiative, so I purpose to just to shoot a video and to give it more clarification. Okay, so the purpose of the In Spite initiative, the In Spite of initiative, is to unify African American males nationwide, those that we can bring into this endeavor, unify us, raise revenues, give the revenues back to the American public. I was hoping we could do that in cash by creating a 501c3 tax-exempt corporation, set aside a trust fund of some sort. I labeled it the American Public Trust Fund, and redistribute those revenues back out to the American public in cash stipends, perhaps with the help of a fiscal agent, and also withhold a certain portion of those revenues for humanitarian and charitable causes. That is the purpose of the endeavor of the In Spite of initiative. The theme is taken from the central theme of Jesus, which says that in spite of, in regards to African Americans, in spite of the horrible legacy of slavery, in spite of disproportionate numbers of African American males incarcerated, in spite of disproportionate number of African American males unemployed, and I'm going to qualify that, in spite of what we as African American males do to ourselves, African Americans in general. Okay, so in spite of what's been done to us in past episodes of American history, and in spite of what we do to ourselves, I was watching the news all this week, we're still doing some bad things out there. Okay, but in spite of that, we're going to grasp and hold on to this faith statement of Jesus, okay, that basically says, in spite of, keep on going, excel. You know, the Bible, Jesus taught on the Sermon on the Mount the Beatitudes, what's called the Beatitudes, and with that teaching came statements such as, the meek shall inherit the earth. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons or children of God. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Okay, now, Jesus did not explicitly state that those individuals who ultimately will become the saints and those who will go to heaven, inherit the kingdom of God, because they will. Okay, but there's an implicit non-spoken standard that's going to have to be met. Those saintly persons, the meek, the pure in heart, and the peacemakers, are going to have to live their lives in spite of as well. And it becomes more clear to me each day that life is contingent upon living in spite of obstacles, addictions, those things that hold us back. Okay? As one preacher said, nevertheless, we're going to move on. We're going to move ahead. Okay? Now, a lady asked me, okay, Kelsey, she was impressed with the concept. She said, but now, let's just say, for example, we have this all together. African American males are unified nationwide. Where do we go from here? What's next? My answer to her was, ma'am, that's a very good question, but I cannot answer that question. I would be premature in answering that question. I cannot tell you the fruits that are going to derive from the seeds that we're planting now. I can give you a personal experience that just happened recently. I signed up for Obamacare, and this is not a political statement. Nobody, not intended to be a political statement. Nobody told me to say it. Okay? In Anchorage, Alaska, some time ago, coming in the gym, coming out of the steam room, I think my pressure was low. Next thing I know, I remember falling into the lockers. Bam! Just fell head first. Woke up a little while later, had towels around me, ice on me. I revived. Ambulance came to get me, took me to the hospital. By the time I got there, I was revived and everything. Signed myself out. Long story short. But I got bills for the transportation from the ambulance and the slight, treatment that I might have received at the hospital. I didn't have to pay it because my income was such that I didn't have, they waived it, to make a long story short, so I didn't have to pay it. But I'm just saying, and then talking to the person who was registering me up for affordable health care under the Obamacare plan, told me, now once you're registered, you'll be covered. So I said, so if I have appendicitis or if I break my leg, things that can cost a person thousands and thousands of dollars, that would put me, $30,000, $25,000 would put me in the hole for a long, long time. Okay, so the point that I'm making is I know that there are other African American males out there that don't know that. So if we had this network, if we were unified and we had this together and we had these methods of communication, we could disseminate that information to persons who didn't know or had some type of misconception about what the Affordable Health Care Act was. So that's just one fruit that came out of this endeavor that's only 3 weeks, probably 3 weeks old at the most now. And the response has been tremendous. I've got signature, with my clipboard, signature support sheets from individuals who have just totally grasped onto the concept. We want to, African American males want to belong to something. Now there's plenty of leadership endeavors going on now in churches and in organizations and other upliftment endeavors going on. I know that. And nobody's asking you to dismantle what you're doing. Please keep that going, but it doesn't mean that you can't become a part of a larger network. Okay? We're just filling in the gaps in that little vacuum that still exists between, that still exists out there. We're trying to bring in those that don't belong to anything yet. When a lot of people suffer from inferiority complexes, meaning basically that they think that their character is such that they don't measure up, that they're not good enough to be counted alongside of good and decent people, so to speak. And that's not how Jesus viewed people. Okay, Jesus wanted to go to those who needed him. To unify African American males nationwide says that you automatically belong to something. Okay? You automatically belong to something. The need and the void in persons' lives and people's lives that they need to belong to something is filled with African American. It's filled right now because you belong to a large network. Many different people, different walks of life. I've talked to men and I've talked to people with suits, people that look like they needed some assistance. So I've talked to all kinds of people. There are not only African Americans that have signed these signature endorsement sheets for this concept. There's white men, Hispanic women. They say, hey, that's a great thing. If you can put that together and it's something that African American males are going to do to help others and to help themselves, they're all for it. Okay? Drop this. This information is also for some of the aldermanic, predominantly black wards that I've gone to. I've gone to several aldermen's office and alderwoman's offices, and so this is what I'm putting this video together to give you a broader view and scope of what we're trying to do here. I just want to make sure I'm covering all the bases, and also we want to try to get rid of these occupations, as I call them. During Jesus' time, when he was alive, the Romans ruled his country, Palestine, which is today Israel. Okay, we're not used to people in America. We're not used to having soldiers from another country patrol our neighborhoods and with bearing arms and telling us what to do and so forth. We're not used to that. Okay, but that was the reality during Jesus' time. The Roman occupied his land and told and had control of the everyday lives of the Jewish people, the Jews back then. But we're going to fast forward that reality during Jesus' time to today. And no, we don't have soldiers walking around bearing arms telling us what to do from another country. But we're still, the occupation still exists. But it's an occupation, not by foreign soldiers. It's an occupation that we have within ourselves. The anger, the envy, the bitterness, the resentments, the addictions, whatever it is that's holding us back. And we can get rid of those. It's a matter of consciousness. Joy, happiness, sadness. Those are all states of mind that can be altered. But it has to come from our being able to strive in spite of, nevertheless. And once we reach that level of consciousness that Jesus was talking about, he said that we can move mountains. I think he was speaking symbolically. I don't think Jesus, maybe he was looking at a mountain, but I still think he was speaking of the mountain as being something symbolic. In other words, representing something else, representing those things that hinder us, those states, not the realities, but the things in our minds, how we think, the addictions, the bitterness, the hatred, the envy, and so forth. Those are mountains that Jesus said all we have to do is tell them to get out of the way. And when we can reach that level of consciousness, we can do that. So, in a nutshell, but maybe not a nutshell, but I'm thinking, just trying to make sure I got everything in that I wanted to say right now. Just wanted to give you a broader perspective. The people want it. The people want it. I've got the evidence right here. Also on the sheet, I asked them to, how many family and friend members do you think would grasp this concept, would take hold of this concept? And I must tell you that some people put down 10 friends, 10 friends, 20 family members, 25 friends. So all we have to do is just keep going, keep building. Whether the 501c3 gets accomplished or not, whether the trust fund so we can distribute revenues back out to the public gets accomplished or not, this website, this video is going to be out and the seeds are still going to be planted. But in order for us to, money is great, jobs is great, and I hope we get those, and those persons that are working in that capacity, please continue doing that. But there has to be a change on the inside. The message has, if there's no message, there's no healing. The message has to go forth in conjunction with those things that will allow us to live comfortably. There's nothing wrong with that. That's great. Okay, but the message has to go forward. So that's right now. I'm just going to leave this video as it is. I might come back and redo it if I think I can do it better again. But right now, I have to put something out there to give further in-depth insight to what I'm talking about when I'm out canvassing and when I'm stopping by people's offices and stuff like that. So that's the point and the purpose of the video today. Okay, love you. Take care. Let's pray on this. Everybody be prayerful, and we can do this. We can change hearts out there. We can make our communities better and reach black men, young and old, but particularly probably our youth. Okay, they're probably most vulnerable right now. Okay, God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.